But you know what I'm going to ask you to do? I'd like you to give us your thoughts about what are the repercussions when a new manager does a poor job in his first 100 days.
Well, a few years ago I was CEO of a business and I hired a new VP of sales for the UK at a critical point for the business. The sales in the UK were tailing off. Our pipeline generation wasn't as strong as it was in the US, and our customer loyalty was beginning to suffer. The sales team was demoralized and was underperforming. So I brought in a new VP of sales. My expectation was that he could do a good job. He had all the right smarts and he had a good reputation for driving revenues in the businesses he'd been before, and he checked out very well when I referenced him. However, sadly, when he joined the business, he spent most of his time behind his desk. He thought he could manage the team via email, perhaps to a degree using the CRM system to analyze what was going on. He didn't go on sales calls with them. And when I asked him to organize reviews or account reviews for me with him, he used those as an opportunity to beat up the sales team and kind of make them feel embarrassed about what they didn't know about the account situations. My best sales rep quit within a month of him joining. My sales manager, or his sales manager, quit within a month. And the whole team had melted down within 6 months. And in fact, he had gone by that time anyway. So that's probably the bad example. Somebody who looked as though they could do the job because they had the right smarts on paper. However, it wasn't all his fault. A lot of it was mine. First of all, I should have spent more time perhaps analyzing what the team required to help coach them and move them forward. I should have spent more time looking for that person rather than, and there's a tendency to do this when you're hiring, which is I just need a sales VP, and then select from what's presented to you and get what you think is the best of the candidates available.
What are the characteristics of a great manager? Just 2 or 3, and the characteristics of a manager who you just wouldn't spend a lot of time with?
I found one of the most difficult situations to be where a manager was asking me to do things that he wasn't prepared to do himself. In other words, he wasn't leading by example.
Okay.
And in the case of the lousy manager in the first 100 days, a manager who thinks that he can drive the sales force from behind a desk or via email is, to my mind, not doing his job. He needs to be leading from the front. He needs to be in the trenches alongside his people. I guess the third thing, or third characteristic of a manager, is he needs to understand that he does a lot more than the sales team do. My general view is in sales management that you have to spend the golden hours out with your sales guys and coaching your sales guys. And you use your time. You start early or you work on Saturday mornings to tidy up your admin or your paperwork. And a manager who was spending his time in his office doing his expenses or sending emails or whatever else wasn't, in my mind, doing what I needed, which was coaching in deal situations.
What's the difference in a sales manager's job and a salesperson's job?
Your job is no longer to build glory for yourself, obviously via your customers and your customer wins, but your job is to build glory for the individuals within your sales team, and you can only bask in that reflected glory. But that has to be something that which you understand and you begin to cherish. You want that. Then don't assume that the sales team are like you, the sales team that you're inheriting are like you. Don't assume that they want to be like you just because you are or were the top performer. These guys will all have different motivations, they'll all have different ethics, they'll have different codes of conduct and different, to a degree, professional behavior. It's your job, and it's absolutely your fundamental job, to get alongside them, understand what motivates them, and understand how you can help them achieve the things that matter to them. I guess the next thing to bear in mind is that having come from being the top performer in the sales company and always getting the accolades, is that you're looking after a team. You could be looking after a team which has been failing, and you've got to get used to the fact that failing less in itself can be an achievement. So start celebrating the minor successes as you rebuild the team. You're not going to get overnight success. You're not going to hit your quota within the first quarter. It may take you, many quarters or several years to get that team up and running. And that may mean that you have to, certainly coach the team. You'll certainly need to train the team. You may even have to replace 1 or 2 members of the team. The next piece of advice I would say is your job is about understanding them, understanding their motivation, and helping them reach their objectives. And that's all about the training and the coaching that you're going to give them.